Are you seeing shifts in your relationships? Feeling the inner sludge come up? Feeling the weight of the world like somebody kicked up the gravity? Welcome to the 1028 Lunar Eclipse in Taurus. Let's get into it.
So this eclipse definitely has a lot going on. The overall energy feel is allow it to deliver. Between the moon in feminine-led Taurus, eclipsing the sun in Scorpio, and how we identify with our shadows and suffering, and Venus in Virgo being part of the grand trine Earth and a kite, this energy is essentially a change in our reality to make room for a future forward feminine. It's rising goddess energy. How we do that is by embodying Venus and the feminine in pursuit of allowance and receiving. Now, that doesn't mean all action needs to stop, but it does mean that action taken with Mars at 11 Scorpio in the 9th house should be, first of all, driven by what the feminine wants to create in this world. We have been prepping for this for a long time. And number two, Mars needs to be surgical in doing what needs to be done to clear out old shadows and old stories to make room for receiving. We can't receive into a full cup, especially if that cup is full of sludge. So utilize Mars energy here to cleanse out the shadows. We don't need to hold on to the old stories anymore. You are free and sovereign. Let them go and make space for the universe to deliver, and trust that it will. Since Uranus is in feminine-led Taurus sextile Venus, clear out the space for something new and unexpected. Chances are this isn't a radical concept at this point. We have been working and moving towards this for a long time. We have been moving out these shadows for a while now. Sometimes we need the weight of Scorpio season to truly move and release them. And understand that these energies are intently and intensely disorienting, and that's okay. Compassion and allowance to feel all the feels is really important. It's a lot. So as you process the shadows and the sludge, allow the mud and the ashes to fertilize your greatest desires. This literally feels like sludge in the body because Scorpio water mixing with lots of earth, plus Venus in Virgo planting seeds of manifestation. Remember, sunlight is a powerful disinfectant, and sunlight is what helps our seeds grow. This isn't a haunting, it's a healing, but you have to allow the emotions to come up and process them all the way through. That means no bypassing, no numbing, no escaping, and even if you try, it probably won't work anymore. What we need is self-care, radical compassion and empathy for self. We are moving through huge karmic wounds. The weight of that is heavy, it's dense, and allow it to be without judgment. Face the friction head on and allow with grace and love to clear it out. Remember, Venus is in the 7th house, the house of long-term committed relationships. So it's very possible that all of this can be coming up as transformation within a relationship with others or within the relationship with yourself. For me, so far, it's been both. It was releasing codependent patterns that have been so ingrained in me for a while. Every time I choose codependency, I am abandoning myself a little bit more, and I could not keep abandoning myself. That's my line in the sand. It may be an outer relationship, but it's between me and me. There is a long history of karmic patterns coming to a close right now. These are major shifts that I'm healing out of. My self-abandonment ends here. So now let's move into the specifics of this chart, and let's continue with the Uranus placement. I feel like if you've been consciously doing the work, this is going to bring a good and pleasant surprise. One, because it's in Taurus, a feminine sign. So it's in support of us manifesting and materializing the best that life has to offer. And 2, because it's working in support of Venus and Virgo. These 2 combined have such an energy of fixing what has blocked us from receiving a higher quality of life. Now, the blocks may look different for each of us, but Venus in the 7th, so don't be surprised if the fixing needs to happen in your long-term committed relationships. Might be romantic, could be business, family, and don't overlook that all outer relationships are a reflection of the relationship between your inner masculine and feminine. So both of those trine Pluto 27 Capricorn in the 12th for a grand trine Earth, which explains why it feels so dense and heavy. It is almost like somebody kicked up the gravity. This can look like a radical shift and letting go or rebirth of structure and control systems around your faith and healing. For me, I think what that looks like is letting go of the idea that I have to be masculine driven to get things done in this world. These placements are coming to tell me to drop into my feminine and trust that the universe is in full support of that. For me, I've been doing the shadow work and have made some huge moves around control systems both recently and with the last eclipse cycle. So it's not about, at this point, going and doing anything. However, if you have a major shadow that's lingering and you've been putting off dealing with it, this eclipse and Scorpio season have the potential to make that both very obvious and very uncomfortable. I secretly hope collectively this means we will be creating new partnerships that live outside of the existing control systems, that support building a new feminine-driven culture that better supports rest, creativity, feeling energies. Let this be a marker of the death of hustle culture, the death of systems driven by toxic masculinity. We are constructing the framework where we get to enjoy the best of life has to offer. Eclipse in Taurus, through allowing the feminine to rise, not through driving the way that we have been doing, but through acts of creation based around how we want to feel. And what do we really want to feel? We've been working on this since the Venus retrograde. We want to feel more bliss, more freedom, more joy and happiness, and we want to make room for more fun and play and love. So the grand trine Earth is trying to come in and heal our ability to receive the best that life has to offer. And it's going to do so in unexpected ways that will result in a radical shift in our beliefs and control systems. But that's not all. There is a kite pointing to Neptune 25 Pisces in the first house. Neptune in Pisces is a double whammy of subconscious belief energy coming to the surface. The way that I read this is our healing, empathy, and compassion comes from within. It's letting go of the idea of an outside force involving itself in our personal power because it's in the first house. It's a reminder that divinity and healing live within us and are always on offer. Now, because this is a kite, there's tension between that placement and Venus in Virgo. So our quality of life and receiving the best that life has to offer come through being in conscious presence of our receiving energy. This is what the grand trine Earth within an eclipse is here to do. The eclipse will come in and something will change that will allow us to better understand that the divinity and power within us comes with embracing the feminine and letting her lead, utilizing masculinity of Mars and Scorpio as a tool to clear out shadows so that we can allow something unexpected to come in and literally change the world. We will come out of this eclipse having germinated the seeds of new beliefs that will lead to radical structural changes that we do not see coming. And it's all in support of what we want to receive as 3D humans. So it's really intense. So please, while we're going through this energy, radical self-care, and drink a lot of water. Think about the thickness of mud. The only way to thin that out is with lots of water. So drink water, get rest, take care of yourself, Cave up if you have to. Be careful in social situations and manage your energy well. But remember, this is all on our side and all in our favor of building the life that we want. How fucking awesome is that? I can't not address the perceived oppositions between the Taurus and Scorpio placements because this energy has world-shifting qualities. So Jupiter at 11 Taurus in the third is about expanding abundance and quality of life in the house of communication and intellect, essentially using your voice as a major part of that expansion. Now the moon at 5 Taurus in the second is feelings about manifestation and abundance in the house of earned income, self-worth, and manifestation. So this moon eclipsing the Scorpio sun has actually double manifestation energy. Now the perceived oppositions in Transformative Scorpio are Sun in the 8th, which is how we identify with trust, intimacy, and boundaries, especially regarding shared resources, both within relationships and within yourself. And we have Mars, the planet of action, and Mercury, the planet of communication, transforming or shifting your beliefs or philosophies, which will transform the potency of intimacy, boundaries, and shadow work. Now, guys, relationships having issues surrounding intimacy and or boundaries may not survive this eclipse. But please remember that it's for good reason and a higher purpose. But it doesn't just end there. When reading this energy, it's important to ask why. What are these oppositions trying to show us? Why these particular placements? So the way I read this, the Taurus lunar eclipse wants to shift your way of thinking, communicating, and feeling about your ability to manifest abundance and the best of what life has to offer. Jupiter wants to expand these things in your life, and it will take your 3D communication and participation to dictate what that may look like. Major ask and you shall receive energy. But the key is to really trust in the universe. Trust past what feels normal to you and actually believe in the power of manifestation and abundance. And I mean really believe. It's not enough to just consciously think about it. You have to believe with both your head and your heart. We all deserve abundance as our birthright, and all includes you with no limitations. Now, there are a lot of somewhat masculine-driven beliefs about how you accumulate abundance, what to do with it, and how it manifests. But what if we shifted our belief from inner limitations into universal trust? I really believe in the depth of my intuition that this particular bliss mess of oppositions actually has the power to change our reality. What if instead of seeing abundance and manifestation as an individualized journey with every man or woman for themselves, what if abundance was a shared goal? Abundance for one shouldn't mean lack for another. As feminine rising energy, we are learning to combine efforts and work in flow of community. But to get there, we have to transform the shadows of our trust, intimacy, and boundary issues, especially around the ideas of money and abundance. What if relationships, both romantic and other, were actually the key to manifesting abundance in a more feminine way? What if our relationships with each other in the collective consciousness were the key? A way that doesn't drive for accumulating uneven amounts of wealth. A way that believes in caring and nurturing each other as a community. What if healing our shadows around trust and intimacy with others had the power to break down the toxic masculine approach and rather allow the rising feeling feminine to meet the divine masculine in sacred union and result in unity consciousness? Around abundance and our ability as natural manifestors? What if enough people manifested that idea and concept together with their hearts and minds and their feelings and their energy bodies? This is the world-changing potential that this eclipse will bring. It may not happen overnight, but stay tuned to what happens collectively between this eclipse and the next cycle. Tune in and let it flow, because it won't stop. I am so excited to announce that I will soon be opening up a very limited number of spots for my individualized life purpose blueprint. To be the first to know when I open the list, follow, like, or comment, and as an added bonus and first access, find the link in my bio to my guided chakra meditation, designed to expand your consciousness and move through the perceived limitations of our dense 3D reality. I would love to continue exploring this infinite reality with you, and thanks so much for your presence. And let it flow, 'cause it won't stop.